Before the ban, Toronto had one. This is Parkside Drive, a notoriously dangerous road near High Park in Toronto. In 2021, a driver going twice the speed limit rear-ended another car and killed this couple. The driver was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison and banned from driving for 15 years. The city lowered the speed limit from 50 kilometers an hour to 40 and installed a speed camera here to enforce it. That speed camera became the city's most prolific and most controversial,
issuing over 69,000 tickets, amounting to more than $7 million in fines.
That's because this is the one that got cut down by vandals. Again, and again, and again.
Cut down for a second time, less than 24 hours after it had been reinstalled.
For a third time.
This is the fourth time in recent months.
Sawed down by vandals for the fifth time.
Cut down 6 times since last November.
This is the 7th time in the past 10 months that somebody has cut the camera down. Back in May, the hidden camera captured this shadowy figure who appears to use a stepladder and a battery-powered saw to cut the speed camera down.
Yep, it was cut down 7 times, and it inspired a wave of vandalism across the city.
Overnight, there were 16 automated speed enforcement cameras damaged across the city.
In response, Ontario Premier Doug Ford sided with the vandals and banned speed cameras. I wish I was joking. That's actually what happened.
Make no mistake, folks, massive tax grab. All they want to do is gouge the people. In a few weeks, our government will introduce legislation to ban speed cameras in Ontario.
Doug Ford presents himself as a tough-on-crime, law and order kind of guy.
We need to send them to jail for years and keep them behind bars, because if there's a deterrent, people are going to think twice about breaking in to someone's home.
But when it comes to cars, he literally sides with the criminals against enforcement. Imagine if criminals vandalized a police station, and then his response was, you know what? We don't need that police station. Or imagine if transit fare inspectors were getting assaulted, and our response was, well, I guess we're not enforcing fares anymore. Doug Ford has 3 main arguments against speed cameras. Number 1, they don't work. Number 2, they're a cash grab. And number 3, there are better ways. Do speed cameras work? Before looking at the evidence, let's just think about that for a second. To say they don't work, you're saying that people receive a fine for doing something, and then they don't change their behavior at all. They just keep doing it, eating the fine. How plausible is that? How likely is it that people don't respond to incentives at all? Are all fines and punishments ineffective, or just the ones for drivers?
If there's a deterrent, people are going to think twice.
Of course speed cameras work.
One study of Toronto school zones found that cameras reduced all speeding by 45% and major speeding by over 80%.
The city of Ottawa found, after it was forced to turn off its speed cameras, or at least the ticketing part, that compliance with the speed limit fell big time. Major speeding was, similarly, the most dramatically affected. The Ford government's own Ministry of Transportation studied the topic a few years earlier and found that speed cameras are effective. Research on criminal deterrence finds that the consistency of punishment is generally more important than the severity. We don't need massive fines or jail time. We just need people to know if they go for a drive that they will be ticketed if they speed. That's where speed cameras are much better than police enforcement. Doug Ford continuously refers to speed cameras as a cash grab.
A fine for unsafe operation of a multi-ton motor vehicle is not a cash grab. Call it what you want, though. You can avoid it by not speeding. All of this seems to be premised on the idea that speeding is a necessity of life and you're taxing it like groceries.
Is it really so unthinkable to just follow the speed limit?
It turns out several vehicles assigned to Ontario cabinet ministers have racked up more than $3,000 in charges, all of them caught by the same cameras the Premier now wants to eliminate.
I guess it was unthinkable. And to be clear, they were not ticketing people for minor mistakes like drifting a few kilometers over the speed limit. Toronto and other municipalities in the region only started ticketing at 11 kilometers an hour above the speed limit. Here on Parkside Drive, with a speed limit of 40 kilometers an hour, that means you could go up to 50 kilometers an hour with zero chance of getting a ticket. More than that, yes, you are liable to get a ticket. In American units, this road has a 25 mile per hour speed limit, and tickets started at 31 miles per hour and above. Before the ban, Toronto had 150 speed cameras, all placed in community safety zones, selected based on things like speed data, crash data, and the presence of students nearby. Cameras were not located near major hills or zones where the speed limit changes.
I realize some of these shots make the road look steep, but it's really only a light incline. Google Maps for cycling calls it mostly flat. In Toronto, 41% of the money from speed cameras was used for road safety initiatives. That includes redesigning streets to be safer and paying crossing guards in school zones. 24% was given to the province, and 35% was spent administering the program.
Doug Ford's third argument is that there are better ways to reduce speeds.
This is a no-brainer. Put speed bumps in.
Any city serious about road safety does need to be rethinking street design. It's not as simple as adding a few speed bumps, though. Those were used mainly on residential streets. A through road like Parkside here would typically involve other designs, like a bike lane, putting sidewalks on both sides of the street, and removing or narrowing some car lanes. The city actually did propose a bike lane to replace a car lane. But that's not allowed because Doug Ford banned cities from replacing car lanes with bike lanes. So as far as I know, he's not on board with any major changes to the design of Parkside. Also, it takes literal decades to redesign the streets of your city, especially if we're talking about the high-quality permanent designs that look the nicest and function the nicest. Speed cameras are something you can scale up and cover the city with in just a few years. What I find most funny about Doug Ford's other proposals, like speed bumps or big signs, if you thought those were actually going to work in reducing speeds, why can't we keep the cameras? People aren't going to be speeding, right?
I sat here for a while and watched this sign, which still tells people their speed but does not issue tickets. Outside of heavier rush hour traffic, most people drove over the 40km/h speed limit, but under the former 50km/h ticketing threshold. But every minute or so, you'd get people doing more like 60 in this 40 zone. The thing is, every single driver already has a speedometer in their car. For the most part, people don't speed because they're not aware. They speed because there aren't any consequences. School safety zone, drive slowly. Senior safety zone, drive slowly. Watch for elderly pedestrians. A flashing light. Here's your speed, drive slowly. To me, signs with no enforcement is basically saying, hey, did you know you're speeding? Please slow down. Although you don't have to. It's like your choice. Here's the reality. Doug Ford didn't ban speed cameras because they don't work, because they're a cash grab, or because he wanted the issue solved in another way. He banned speed cameras because we live in a culture where speeding is normalized, where speed limits are treated as fake, and enforcing them is seen as unfair and illegitimate. This feels totally intuitive to drivers here. Of course the speed limit isn't real. You don't actually follow that, do you? But if you don't drive much or at all, it's really strange. It's funny though how we try to keep up the fiction. Signs on highways tell us to obey the speed limit. I wish people would just come out and say that speed limits should be higher, or not exist at all, instead of this weird indirectness, where we just say it's unfair to enforce them. Some speed limits maybe should be higher, like on highways. Ontario's most common 100 limit, not really enforced, is lower than the 120 or 130 common in Europe. Maybe raise it to 120, and then consistently enforce that with cameras. But if we're following that European model, that means lower limits in cities, and we need to actually take them seriously. We need good pedestrian and bike infrastructure. What frustrates me so much about this, as a cycling advocate, is that I get told all the time how cyclists don't deserve bike infrastructure because we're all renegade rule breakers. I hear that all the time. And then the government of Canada's most populous province, of 16 million people, goes ahead and bans enforcement of basic rules about speed for drivers. Doug Ford's ban shut down 700 speed cameras across 40 municipalities. It's an institutionalized culture of lawlessness on the roads. If police enforce speed limits more often, I wonder if they'd ban that too. That's no less of a cash grab. It's just less widespread and effective. I actually have some sympathy for drivers here. It can be jarring going from a context where rules are not enforced to one where they are. You should be able to know what to expect. I think the most straightforward solution is to decide the speed limit is real and we will enforce it impersonally and consistently. If you think a particular limit is unreasonable, argue that directly. I think that's better than Doug Ford's proposal of returning to the ambiguous situation of speed limits aren't real. Occasionally, police will punish some egregious level of speeding in some random location, but you have to know the unwritten rules of what they'll tolerate and hope they aren't grumpy that day. I have a question for all of you. Do people treat speed limits as real where you live? Are they actually enforced? Do you have speed cameras? Let me know in the comments how it works where you live. I'd like to know. Thanks for watching through to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And special thanks to our supporters on Patreon.